I have 10 o'clock and I'm gonna call the Public Works Committee meeting for August. Order. Everybody is here. I will make a motion to approve the agenda and approve the July 24th, 2024 minutes.
I'll second it.
We got a first and a second. Any discussion on any of that? Nope. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. That passes. Chairperson comments. I do not have any. Does anybody else have any comments? Department of Public Works report, Ben.
So before we get into the couple agenda items, kind of go with construction projects for the summer. Everything is wrapped up. Last meeting we had, we talked about the street painting, sidewalks, crosswalks. That's all completed. Ready for the kids to go back to school and everything else in different areas that we've marked out and painted. The Second Street road complete construction project is all the water, sewer, storm is completed as of today at 3 o'clock. They're gonna get it cleaned up and start getting ready to do a curb sidewalk next week. Tuesday or Wednesday is the schedule. Infrastructure went good. I know I had some calls over the project. Again, anytime we're doing brand new water line, you know, when you're flushing out brand new water lines to get safe tests to open it back up, we end up with dirty water, as you guys all know. And it's, you know, we try really hard not to. I work with other communities, what they do, but unfortunately, anytime when you open up a hydrant with a brand new 6-inch water line, we're gonna dirty water. So I've been dealing with some residents last week, Friday. We had cleaned that line out before we put it in the service as of Friday night. We did have some dirty water in town, so I've been working with the residents to you know, let them know why this happens. You know, unfortunately, to replace a new water line in the village, which that's our goal, to get rid of the, you know, some of the old ductile line. If it's 2-inch and put, you know, PVC 4 or 6-inch and 8-inch, we're gonna have dirty water. So if you guys get any concerns from residents, send them my way. You know, I mean, if a resident has to run their water for, you know, 10-20 minutes to clear out, you know, I try to, you know, maybe work with them a little bit, give them a little kickback with Diane or whatever on the water bill. I mean, most residents, if they run an outside faucet for 5 minutes, it clears out. Unfortunately, there's no way not to have that happen when we're trying to flush out new systems. So said sorry to the residents, the inconvenience. There's just no better way to isolate our loop system in the village to not have dirty water. So, but we'll keep addressing that as we do projects. But that project is going good. Should be on schedule, like I said, do curb, gutter, sidewalk, and open for pavement here middle of September if everything goes good and the weather cooperates. So thanks to the residents that have worked with us during this project, if it's, you know, parking on the roads and other things. So that kind of wraps up our summer projects. If you look around, we got a few little spots. We're doing some water valve repair, water service line, you know, minor repairs. That we'll get that wrapped up here in the next few weeks and be ready for the leaf pickup in September. So summer help, we're finished here in the last 2 weeks, went back to college. I want to thank them. They did a great job. Helped us out over the summer with little projects, mowing, run the leaf sucker and the tree and brush pickup. So now we get into the discussion of the Public Works 10-year project plan. So basically, if you guys look at it, every 10-year project plan, this is up to accurate numbers. We the 407 account, we have a balance of the $41,000. Which that gives you your third sheet. That just kind of shows over the years. You know, it's a hot conversation. We get into budget time every year. Are we going to put any money in the 407 account? What are we going to do? You know, you can see over the years, some years we had greater amounts, some years we didn't, just depending on what the village is doing, different departments. Again, in 2025, I'll bring the budget to you guys with some money in the 407 account. That's we do every year. We bring it there and see if we've got to try to keep putting money in that account if we're going to do projects without borrowing money. And if you look at all these projects, you know, the next couple of years with the TIF is going to definitely help us out, get projects completed. But we need to build up the 407 account. So hopefully in, you know, 2026, 2028, we can do a street project without having to borrow money for that project. And that's the ultimate goal. Something I'm gonna do here in the next year or so is really break down some of these road projects. Look at our water department, our wastewater loan is coming up at the wastewater plant. See if these projects, when we do a street, if the water can pay for the new water line, the sewer can pay for the sewer. I mean, that's utilities. Our goal is the utilities would pay for those replacements of those underground services. So that's something, as you look, just for example, like Adams, water, sewer and pavement is $300,000. I mean, if the water could pay for, if the water has got $75,000 to $100,000 worth of stuff and the sewer does, that makes that number down when it comes out of the actual public works budget, look a little more realistic. So something I'm gonna work on is basically taking these projects and breaking them down. How much is the water gonna cost? How much is the sewer gonna cost, to see if we cannot use our utilities to pay for them. Again, with the wastewater loan coming up this year, hopefully we can be able to make some adjustments. One of the biggest things, if you look at 2027 Clean Water Act grant. For people that have been on the board, we've been the Second Street from basically Edwards all the way up to the bunker. We've been applying for the Clean Water Act grant with MSA for the last 15 years. Every year we apply for it. Doesn't mean we got to use it, but we're on the radar. If we need it, we can use it. Obviously, with the Clean Water Act grant at the wastewater plant coming up this year, it's going to be something that we're going to have to look into. And maybe, it basically takes 2 years to get that grant, get the paperwork, get all the work done, but something we're going to be talking about next year is maybe starting to look at that clean water grant for Second Street. Second Street, basically starting here at the Village Garage all the way to for Bunker Avenue, has a lot of lead on it. If you follow the news, they're trying to make sure it gets lead joints out of the ground. So it's got their main sewer line. There's a lot of criteria. We can get other grants and things to hopefully support that project, but that's something we'll be talking about and seeing if we can't apply for that grant to use that for the Second Street from Municipal Building all the way to Bunker Avenue. Otherwise, everything else is pretty much straightforward. I mean, the projects we have in here, a lot of them, again, old water lines, 2-inch water lines, some areas in town where we do have some lead services, old clay sewer that's collapsing and we know issue. So, I mean, in the next, 10 years, these roads are basically what roads I see now, from televising the sewer and water issues, what roads we need to address. And that changes every year. Some year we can adjust it if we have a different road. But I guess the main conversation was, again, the 407 account. You guys see where it is. Again, when the budget gets rolling here in the next month, that money will be in there, and that's up for conversation of how we can get to complete these projects in the future without having to borrow to do road projects. Does anybody have any questions on any of those?
What would be your goal for this year to put into the 407 account? Like, what would be a comfortable number for you?
Well,
I know like $1 million would be great,
I mean,
but
again, if you look at it in 2026, we're trying to come up with 300,000. So, and that's 2 years away. So in 25, if we could, we could put 150, and then 2026, put another 150, you'd have that $300,000 to do Adams Road project without having to borrow money. I mean, that would be the goal. That was, this has been in place since, almost 20 years. That was the goal, is basically you build that pot up every 2 years and do a project the second or the third year. You're never going to put the whole project in 1 year. So you build up for it, and then obviously, we get into 28, 29. I mean, it gets kind of hairy, but we'll see. There's grants and other things we can try to come up with. But, if you look at how we could do Adams Avenue in 2026, we'd have to put, $150,000 in this year to have that money saved for 2026.
Okay.
That
Thank
makes
you.
sense.
Yep.
Thank you.
So that's 150,000 just for the road project, but then you also want your equipment to be another 100 plus.
Yeah, last month we brought that in. That obviously this year we're looking at a pickup and a lawnmower, which I just sent out to our dealerships to get quotes. So we'll have a better accurate number. We come in the budget, but that number could be 50 to 75, depending this year, but we had it in there too. If you look at the building up for a new dump truck in 3 years, if we put a little extra in, we don't have to borrow, unfortunately, like we had to last year for the unloader. So that gets to be a tough budget question, putting, again, we put 0 in both of these, and all of a sudden we're trying to put 100 and a quarter and 150 in these accounts. Hopefully that answers your question.
What a lot of money.
Well, again, I'm trying to cut it by. It's just a matter of if we want to borrow like we did for the unloader last year, or if we want to,
I don't want to borrow for that.
you know, if we want to try to keep within. I mean, that's, I guess we put these plans together and all we can do is try to execute the best we can. And when budget time comes, a good conversation and, you know, that you can see the projection, I mean, where that money goes for the next 10 years.
I think, just my opinion, you know, the nuts and bolts of this village is public works. Everything you see outside your window is streets and stuff, and you need your equipment to be able to do that, so we'll ask for the moon and see what happens, but I'd like to see, be able to fill those and have those, because the last 2 years you haven't put anything in. I don't remember in 2020, $250,000, but
Yeah. You know,
it'd
that
be
was.
nice to build that out.
Yeah, for sure, whatever. And again, we're looking at our equipment, you know, with the cost of new equipment, trying to run them out extra 2 or 3 years. You know, the lawnmower we ran extra 2 years. I mean, we're definitely looking, as I did that plan before, I mean, we're definitely trying to push everything out an extra couple of years prior that we have, just because the cost has gone up. And, you know, sometimes you can maintain a piece of equipment, you know, maybe a couple more years compared to we're used to just buying a new one. So we're definitely trying to do that also.
Well, and I had just, you know, we pushed back when I was public works chair, we pushed back a
That's
pickup
a
truck.
problem last year.
Well, of course, but we pushed back your pickup truck now. I think it's been 3 years. At least.
And what year's your
so-
truck?
2011.
The Rockers are busted out.
But, you know, I agree. We have to look at some, I guess we'll see how the total budget works, but we have to put something in here for the future.
What do we do when we purchase new equipment? What do we do with the old equipment?
We normally trade everything in. Everything we do is a trade-in value. You know,
So
we
you
bought the
get
new
trade-in
unloader, we
okay.
traded it in. Pickups, we traded them in.
Okay.
Lawnmowers, like right now, when I send out the specs for new lawnmower, it's trading in.
Yeah,
No
we're getting
lawnmower.
value out of it.
Yep.
so Good.
Got anything else, Tom?
So the next one will just kind of, this is the tipped update projects. In September board meeting, we'll be approving the contract award for everything from behind the shopping center to Edwards. You know, if you look at this, we've got their basically 4-year plan laid out. Obviously, end of September, we need to have all the bonds and documents, everything in place for road construction project throughout the TIF, because our expenditure period ends September. So those, we're waiting for those bids to come back, and I'll be bringing you guys an update at the September board meeting to basically approve a contractor for the rest of these road work through 2028. Just wanted to make sure you brought that to your attention one more time. So otherwise, if you look at this year, we're pretty much wrapped up with most of the projects. You know, Second and Bunker, we're finishing that up right now. The alleyway's been paved, chip seal's been done downtown. Wisconsin River, streetlights have been repaired, chip sealing been done in Market, and obviously Vanderwall, that just kind of runs out through the year. So
Can I ask a question? The first one under 690 Second Street from Bunker to Monroe, the 525,000. What is that? Is that chip sealing and paving?
that's the project working on now. That's a complete rebuild. That's sanitary, water, storm, sewer, complete rebuild of the road.
Okay, so each one of these is complete rebuild, like the 281,000 in 2025. That's a complete stormwater, water,
Yep.
sewer, and stormwater.
545, that's just the TIF balance, the 281. The project cost 545.
Yeah, the estimated is 500.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically, yeah, just new to Rick, whatever, basically, you know, every year we get the $240,000 from the TIP district.
Yeah.
So that's why we broke out this project into 3 different pieces. So
Mhm.
every year, basically using what we're getting in. Obviously, our expenditure period ends, meaning we can't do any more projects after this September unless they are signed
You
and
gotta
sealed.
have them identified and locked in.
Yep, so that's why it will be.
I was
have all that
just,
stuff
yeah, I
in.
was just curious what's included in that.
Yeah, those are complete rebuilds, and if you do look at it, you know, we do have the water department trying to pay for some of the water. I did break it down in these projects to try to do more bang for the buck, I'll be honest with you, and use our water. So if you do look at it, we're gonna be charging some of the expenses to the water department on these projects to start that method going, I guess, basically using our utilities to the best of their advantages.
Okay. Just so these do line up with the 10-year capital. plan.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, anything else then?
I guess underneath new business, I have something.
Old business, do we have any old business? New business.
So last month we were, told our news on our issue federal forestry grants that did not get the forestry grant. We are gonna be applying for a new urban forestry grant. It's a 50-50 match. We're gonna apply $25,000, basically within our tree and brush in our budget. We have $25,000 that we do, work in that area, I guess, that would fall into the criteria of this grant. So we're gonna be applying for another $25,000. So at the board meeting in September, you guys will be approving the urban resolution, so we can apply for this grant in October. It's due in October and it's for next year. So we're still trying to come up with some money to help with replacing the trees that we've taken down over the years. And there's obviously more ash, unfortunately, dying. I had one branch fall down today and the lady called me, so we're still dealing with the ash. So I'm trying to still apply for any grants we can to get some help for cutting those trees down and try to replace some of the trees that we've removed over the years.
How much was the grant for that we did not get?
That grant, we applied for $250,000. So,
Is that a yearly grant that we could reapply again next year?
yeah, we could,
We don't have any money invested in that. We just had the
No, that was-
UWSP students go around and identify.
Jairus didn't, Jairus is quite helpful in these grants, myself, and that one, he had a lot of time in it. We didn't meet with the person, he was quite upset that we didn't get anything, and that's, when millions of dollars seems like a lot, but when people start applying for, 500, 400,000, it doesn't take long. And so, but this one here is it's a match, it's 25,000. We're gonna give it a whirl. It's see what we can do.
You've done that before. We've gotten that.
Yeah, we've gotten these before, over the years. So these, the match grants are definitely more competitive for us to get when you're looking complete. It's tough for any grants, but so you'll see that resolution in September board meeting. Already covered administrator notes.
Okay, thank you. Number 10, anybody receive any correspondence? Number 11, agenda items for next meeting. Probably budget stuff, right?
Yeah, so we'll be working with President Mansell and Diane. We're gonna be meeting, the plan will be is I'll be meeting with the department heads in late September, getting them the budget sheets out. We'll work together, start filling those out, and basically start putting the master budget together with Diane. And basically when it comes to committee meetings in October, I'll make sure that I bring the newest budget sheet that we have. I'll have a folder here up for the front that'll have the newest budget numbers when Diane puts it together in the master, and we can discuss that as a whole, as a committee. And then we'll be looking for early November for the committee as a whole to hammer out the final budget numbers. So definitely in October, we'll be talking about budget together. And again, as the Public Works, we're gonna, I brought both you guys the 400, the 407, the plans. We're definitely gonna put those numbers in the budget. And obviously we'll work through them as a whole. We'll make some decision as a whole what we're gonna do when it comes to if we need to make any cuts, I guess you could say. So.
Does anybody have anything else? Meeting date for next meeting. Now that Rick is here, we can pick any day. The Wednesdays, I'd like to get back to the afternoons. We kind of did the mornings for Jen during the summer and stuff like that, but now that we're kind of getting back into the school year. and stuff,
Wednesday afternoon.
Wednesday afternoons.
Do we want to do the 18th or the 25th?
I am free either one of those days.
Public safety is at 4:30 on the 25th.
I will be out of town, but I could try to call in.
What about the 18th?
18th, I'm in town. No, I'm not. I'm in Pennsylvania the 18th. So the 25th might work better. I'm gonna be camping.
What time would work? That'll work for you then.
If we can do it for, I mean, if that works, if the public safety is at 4:30, I mean, I don't see anything big coming to the table. It would be done in a half an hour.
4 o'clock on 25th.
So it's up to if everybody's schedule with work and stuff.
It's fine with me.
Work for you, Betsy.
Mhm.
So you were coaching?
We don't, well,
Okay.
yeah, we have practice that day, but
Perfect. 4 o'clock works for me.
4 p.m. on the 25th.
4 PM on the 25th, that Wednesday.
As long as I get internet where I am.
You can always call too.
All right, anybody have anything else before we adjourn? No, good to go for the month. All right. I, without objection, I call the meeting adjourned at 10:21.